Madara Uchiha, the man who turned entire armies into dust with a single glance. To the weak, he was a monster. To the blind, he was a villain. But to those who dared to see clearly, Madara was the only true visionary. He wasn't feared because of his power alone. Power fades. Power can be challenged. No, Madara was feared because he saw further than anyone else. While others fought for nations, he fought for an idea. While shinobi clung to illusions of honor and loyalty, he tore them apart with a single truth. The world does not want peace. It craves domination. And that is what separates him from the rest. The Hokage dreamed. The heroes pretended. The villagers worshipped fragile symbols they themselves did not believe in. But Madara, he stripped the lie bare. He saw humanity not as it wished to be, but as it truly was. Greedy, violent, desperate to kneel before whichever hand appeared strongest. That is why even gods trembled at his name. Because deep down, every shinobi knew he was right. They did not hate Madara because he was wrong. They hated him because his existence forced them to confront the truth they spent their lives denying. He was not just a warrior. He was a mirror. And no man survives long when they are forced to look into the abyss of themselves. Understand this. While your so-called heroes clung to their fragile ideals of peace, Madara drowned himself in reality. He knew the truth. Humanity cannot survive without conflict. Peace is nothing but a pause between wars, a fragile illusion waiting to be shattered by the greed of the next generation. Every age of shinobi was the same story written in blood. A cycle of hatred, an endless wheel turning, fathers burying sons, villages rising and burning, alliances forged only to be betrayed. You call it progress, but it is nothing more than repetition. And Madara, he did not run from that truth. He embraced it. While others lied to themselves with speeches of harmony, Madara stared into the abyss of mankind and accepted it for what it was. A beast addicted to violence, a creature that only understands control. That is why his clarity was more terrifying than his power. Because he saw the world exactly as it is, while the rest of you cower behind the comfort of lies. Madara did not create that cycle, he exposed it. He tore away the illusion that shinobi fought for peace and revealed what they truly fought for, dominance. He ripped the mask of justice from their faces and forced the world to stare at its own reflection, ugly, selfish, and drenched in blood. Understand this, power did not make Madara dangerous. Clarity did. The clarity to see through the lies that even you cling to. The clarity to accept that every act of heroism hides ambition. Every war for justice is a war for control. And every so-called savior is just another tyrant waiting for their crown. That is why Madara was feared. Not because he could crush nations with his Susanoo, but because he crushed illusions with his truth. He showed the world that the cycle of hatred was not an accident. It was their nature. And once you see your nature, you cannot unsee it. That is why Madara was inevitable. And tell me, what terrifies you more? A man with strength beyond gods, who can crush you in an instant? Or a man who looks into your soul, strips away every illusion you've built, and whispers, "This is who you really are"? The first leaves you broken. The second leaves you exposed. One can destroy your body, the other destroys the story you tell yourself every day. And when that story dies, so do you. That is why Madara was fear itself. Not because of his power, but because he forced you to face the one enemy you could never defeat. Your own reflection. You cheer for Naruto because his ideals comfort you. You cling to his speeches, his promises of friendship, because they whisper the lie you've always wanted to hear, that the world can be saved without sacrifice. But tell me, when your own life drowns in suffering, do you still believe in those pretty words? Be honest with yourself. If Madara stood before you and offered the Infinite Tsukuyomi, An eternal dream without pain, without loss, without fear. Would you truly reject it? Or would you fall to your knees, desperate for the escape you've been secretly craving? You see, people don't love freedom. They love comfort. They don't chase truth. They run from it. The Infinite Tsukuyomi wasn't a prison. It was a gift. A mercy for a species too weak to face its own nature. And here's the cruel part. You can scream, you can argue, you can pretend you would resist, but I already know your answer. Because every time you choose the easy lie over the hard truth, you've already accepted Madara's dream. Madara wasn't chasing power. He was chasing control, the only path to peace. The only path humanity has ever obeyed. You call him a villain because he forced you to confront what you are. A species addicted to war, incapable of peace, and desperate for someone strong enough to rule. That is why his name still echoes in fear. That is why his shadow still reigns above the shinobi world. Madara wasn't wrong. He was simply too honest for you to accept. And that is why he will never die.